Bayer Leverkusen's increasingly confident march towards the first Bundesliga title in its history is the biggest impression of the European football season so far, even for those who for various reasons prefer the other major national competitions. As for Xabi Alonso, who is set to build a brilliant managerial career, his name right now pops up in the news even more often than Josep Guardiola's or Jurgen Klopp's once. The red-bearded Spaniard is a rare example of a coach who seems to be destined to have a great future in this role, even in the time when he still was a player. Firstly, Alonso is coming from a family with a very good football pedigree. His father, Perico, has been a manager too, after winning 3 La Liga titles as a player with Real Sociedad twice and Barcelona in the 1980s. Secondly, the role of central midfielder itself gave and quite frankly continue to give Xabi a huge initial edge. As you can see, almost a half of all illustrious managers in the last 30-40 years presented this particular position in their playing days. And it's not a coincidence, by no means. The thing is that the one who is performing in the center of the field is automatically in the thick of the action. The footballer of this profile must do all and is involved in almost all the processes. He should not only defend and attack, but do it with a sense of proportion, anticipating what will happen in the next second. All this requires an analytical, tactical mindset and the ability to interpret the game and constantly interact with the teammates, not only in terms of passing, but also with regards to smart positioning himself on the pitch. These are definitely coaching skills too, and that's why those who represented this role in the past are in general initially much better equipped to train than former goalkeepers and wing players. In addition to it, Alonso had the fortune to work with plenty of world-class managers and taste completely different directions of football. In his Liverpool's years, the Spaniard got acquainted with the pragmatic side of the game, courtesy to Rafael Benitez's approach. Playing for Real Madrid under the guidance of Jose Mourinho, he experienced an up-tempo style, whilst being part of the Spain national team and Bayern with Josep Guardiola at the helm, Xabi got to know the possession-based football. On top of that, being a high-profile midfielder with an envious record both on the international and club level, Alonso won all the major competitions there, barring the Intercontinental Cup and Premier League. He at times has been forced to fight for place in the starting lineup. All this not only honed his will and character, but also taught him how to adapt to various situations and cope with issues. Hanging his boots in 2017 at the age of 35, the Spaniard opted for a classic way to his new profession. He was patiently and tranquilly walking down the career stairs without rushing things. Spending a year in the role of Real Madrid U14 team manager, he after that trained Real Sociedad B for 3 seasons. Promotion to the senior team seems a logical step in these cases, but the excellent work of Imanol Alguacil, who proved to be the right man for the best club for many years to come, firmly closed this door for Alonso. As a result, in the summer of 2022, he decided to leave Real Sociedad, waiting for an opportunity in the other place. Such opportunity arose almost straight away. In October, Xabi signed a contract with Bayer Leverkusen. It was a big chance, but a high risk too, being one of the most effectively organized clubs in the world for decades, which often punches above its weight. Bayer, back at the time, mired in crisis. Starting from a low point, the team was second from bottom by the moment of his arrival. The Spaniard after a few turbulent weeks and emotional roller coaster, masterfully steadied the ship and then finished the campaign in a pretty solid manner by reaching the Europa League semi-final and clinching a place in the next edition of the tournament. After it and positive off-season, when the German club bolstered the squad, Alonso and company looked like a genuine contender for the spot in top 4, but reality exceeded the expectations. The phenomenal rise of Bayer once again reinforces the fact that in the modern football, a fast-paced style of play is the shortest route to ultimate success, especially for the relatively modest outfits. But the truth is that in Bundesliga, the traditional arena of end-to-end action, supersonic speed, and massive intensity, almost all the participants adopted this way of tactics on a constant basis, and the reasons of the Leverkusen's leadership isn't only related to the pure athletic supremacy, it's rather an intellectual thing, contrary to many German clubs which are strictly betting on a very simple, absolutely direct football with a lot of running and unpretentious long balls. Leverkusen's game is built on a blend of velocity, stamina and finesse. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that Alonso's coaching style is very similar to Klopp's one, incidentally the last tactician to this day who prevented Bayern from winning the Bundesliga title. Being an up-tempo type of team which adores to attack an open space, Bayern at the same time are really effective, operating in tight areas, often constructing a semblance of fast break via a series of nifty short passes or one classy through ball, a la Klopp's Borussia Dortmund and Liverpool. This enables to find some room to operate, even in the event if an opponent defends in a proper way, when at least 8 or 9 men are vigilantly covering their zones. This asset allows Leverkusen to be sharp and incisive in the positional attack too, by adding to 18 fast break goals, which is a huge amount even by high Bundesliga standards. A bunch of those that look similar but were scored against more or less set defense. Hence the lack of consistency, which is so typical for the vast majority of prominent German clubs, who at their day could beat Bayern and then lose to a mid-table opponent right after it didn't affect Bayern so far. It's especially pronounced in the latest rounds, when the team already proved its status of legitimate title contender, and most of the opponents were trying to hide in the deep defense, but to no avail. Even in the situation when fast break is basically impossible, Leverkusen have been able to create, score and eventually win. In the games after the winter break, apart from the match against Bayern, when the roles to a certain extent were reversed, the club of Alonso had 76, 60, 67, 62 and 66% of possession respectively, and lost points only once. As for the numbers for the whole campaign, they are even more impressive. Bayern ranks 5th in that category if we take the major leagues. On the other hand, the club is 7th in terms of passing accuracy, which is a terrific achievement for the outfit which thrives on sheer pace and counter-attacks. To put it into perspective, Liverpool ranks only 22nd in this regard. Building a team which is a rare merge of speed, athleticism and nifty passing around the permanent 3-4-2-1 tactical formation. The Spaniard also showed himself a consummate master of developing players. Amin Adli, Edmond Tapsoba, Ezequiel Palacios, Victor Boniface, Jeremy Frimpong, Adilon Kosuno, and even Florian Wirtz, who had the reputation of prodigy before the arrival of Alonso, along with Alex Grimaldo, who is not that young for a footballer of his position left back, drastically increased their market value in the last several months. Given that Bayer even in the times of prosperity, continue to be a club that willingly sells its best footballers if there is an attractive offer indeed. It's perhaps the most flattering compliment for Xabi, who is not short of very prestigious offers lately. Albeit the option in the form of Real Madrid recently became inaccessible due to the extension of Carlo Ancelotti's contract, although the Italian must still protect himself by winning Primera or the Champions League by the end of the season, but the calls from Liverpool and Bayern keep coming. Right now the Spaniard is fully concentrating on his current job though. Being 8 points ahead of Bayern, Leverkusen have a comfortable cushion and shouldn't look behind too much and too cautiously, given the serious internal problems in the opponent's camp. But Alonso still must beware of the potential mental block. In the past, even if it was a long time ago, Bayern not once or twice became a victim of fear to lose the title, which is almost there, and ultimately failed. This time, the target seems particularly close, but the team must keep going and avoid psychological tightness because it immediately disrupts the rhythm of play, and it could be a serious problem in the case of up-tempo outfit. As for potential lack of energy, Leverkusen should be safe in this regard, given that the Bundesliga fixture is the most humane among the biggest national competitions, and also a lucky draw in the shape of Karabakh in the Europe League. To sum up, Alonso has a great chance to finish the unbelievable season so far in style, which will put him in a great position to decide which package is the best for him and what to do next: move to Bayern or Liverpool or stay in Leverkusen for another year.